I have no musical number prepared for this episode.
No, there's not really a musical number prepared for this episode.
Okay, so today we are going to see Fast and the Furious 8, aka Fate of the Furious. So let's talk about this because last time we tried to talk about this,
It did not go well at the end.
because we lost the mostly because we lost the footage.
Because it was just...
Okay, so the last time we went to see a Fast and Furious movie was back when they made Furious 7. Though, of course, when that happened, they had the tribute to Paul Walker at the end, and we were still kind of choked up by it in the end, so when we tried to sum it up, we were still kind of reeling from it. Thus, the footage, and then later, the footage actually the iPod that the footage was on was kind of... broken. So we basically lost the footage. So that's why we never put that video up. It was up for multiple reasons. Now, this time around, hopefully there won't be any big emotional moment that core to this movie that will make us want to
fall like little babies.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our connection to Fast and the Furious.
We never grew up on Fast and the Furious, really.
It was around when we were growing up. We knew it existed, and Fast and Furious, and we were just always, and it was just always a franchise that was there up until Fast and Furious 6.
That's right. Up until Fast and Furious 6, it was basically we knew Fast and Furious was some action franchise. We knew nothing about it except for Vin Diesel was in a few of them, because we had heard of Vin Diesel from The Pacifier. But anyway, Fast and Furious 6, we got a free advanced screening pass for it, and we went to see it, and it was surprisingly easy to jump into.
We actually very much enjoyed it.
Fast and Furious 6 was a great jumping on point for us, and we loved every second of it, despite the fact that it was this big dumb action movie, because it was this really well-made dumb action movie. And yeah, everybody's basically you love them or you hate them. And if you hate them, you're basically one of those people who thinks that every movie needs to be like this godlike entity of smart and clever. But Fast and Furious knows it's not clever. It knows it's never going to be Citizen Kane. There's never going to be a Forrest Gump of Fast and Furious movies. It's just going to be those dumb action movies where Vin Diesel and his friends all just drive around really fast, and maybe there will be some big action set piece where they drive through a plane or drive a boat through downtown and Rio de Janeiro, or The Rock pushes a torpedo in the middle of the Arctic.
But this time around, we have taken over directorial duties, Mr. F. Gary Gray, whose recent film was the very good Straight Outta Compton, snubbed very much for the Oscars, as well as he also directed stuff like The Negotiator, The Italian Job, Friday, The Italian Job, also featuring Charlize Theron and Jason Statham.
So this movie has basically been a long time in the making. It makes you kind of wonder why he's just now jumping into the Fast and Furious movies. And also, Chris Morgan, the guy who's written pretty much the Fast and Furious movies, all the Fast and Furious movies since Tokyo Drift, has jumped on board is continuing to write the screenplay, and that's pretty awesome. I think we've got a great group of people. Charlize Theron is coming in as the new villain, along with Helen Mirren as Jason Statham's mother. Holy crap, it's raining hard.
We have Jason Statham, we have The Rock, we have Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris.
Scott Eastwood is coming in, basically, to be Kurt Russell's second in command.
We got these movies are just drawing in big cast members now. Now, big franchise movies are just making the huge rounds.
And honestly, our biggest hope is not that this movie is going to be this big epiphany of beautiful storyline mixed with incredible action sequences. We just hope that it's dumb, fun, basically a Saturday morning cartoon on basically the biggest budget Saturday morning cartoon you've ever seen brought to the big screen.
And it can only be, and we can only hope that it is that it continues to keep the legacy of the Fast and Furious movies alive.
Well, that's about it for right now, so we will see you guys after the jump. Alright guys, so what can we say about that other than it was everything we thought it would be?
And more.
So basically this entire movie is, let's face it, the Fast and Furious, when it comes to story, the Fast and Furious movies are basically soap operas. So we're watching our stories! Except our stories are better because they have better production value.
And they're blowing shit up.
Yeah, so we've got all this stuff, all this really great stuff. It's awesome. Soak it in. But we've got, I think Scotty, let's talk about this. F. Gary Gray, he did a great job directing this movie because basically he's one of the people who probably knows how this works. It's basically big action sequences with essentially a soap opera, an over-the-top soap opera thrown in between.
It's very fun. It's very energetic. There's a lot of great action. The writing is cheesy. There's plot holes that I was pointing out in the theater, so you know they were obvious.
And it's hilarious sometimes, and some of the lines do get legitimate laughs, and there's a lot of great stuff in it. Like we got Helen Mirren basically acting like she's in a Guy Ritchie movie the entire time, all the way down to the Cockney accent.
We have so much amazing, fun, cheesy, over-the-top stuff going on, from the chase sequences to the acting to the script to the way the film is just one long trip down through the entire franchise.
I think Scott Eastwood. Look, I'm pretty sure that when they created Scott Eastwood's character, essentially he's basically Brian 2.0. Oh, I'm not saying that they're trying to replace Paul Walker, but I'm just saying in a certain scene, he's basically wearing Brian's clothes.
Yeah, he's basically turned into. We're basically trying to replace Brian, and that's not a bad thing. It's just because clearly they're turning him into. He's a different character. They're going for a completely different character.
Hence why they didn't actually do what they were rumored to do and cast Paul Walker's brother Cody in the role. So,
or hopefully not do what they're gonna do, which is try to bring Paul back with CGI like they did, only for an entire movie. But it was fine when they did it for 7, but don't do it for a whole movie.
And in the end, I think this. And there's a cameo from a past character in a Fast and Furious movie who we will not spoil because we didn't know this was coming, and when it came, we're like, yes, this is pretty awesome. Even though they're not in it for a very long time because they were working on another movie at the time. Clearly.
Yes, clearly. We also have other cast members from previous Fast and Furious stuff. Everything kind of links together in this movie. Everything we've gotten from the last 5 movies kind of links to, from Fast 5 to now, links together.
Because we're kind of getting everything put into, because it's kind of getting to the point where this movie is not only where they've stopped retconning and rearranging. Now that we're actually caught up to where the franchise actually needs to be, they actually can catch up enough that they can take a breath and be like, okay, the franchise has changed through 3 different genres. How can we kind of rearrange storylines so that this change actually seems a little more fluid? Because first it was just a car racing movie with a little bit of basically Point Break with cars instead. And then at 5 it turned into a
heist franchise. Then at 6 we turned into spy movies. At 2 we were a buddy cop movie. At 3 we were a teen angst Mr. Miyagi kind of movie.
4 was basically a back to basics heist movie. This is where they are. Fast and Furious 7 and 6. Slightly 6 was basically another heist movie with a spy thriller element. 7 was a little bit more of what we got in 6, and also kind of a bridge movie. And 8 is now full on this entire franchise. Hopefully, this entire franchise from here on out. We can't change genres again. And I don't want to suddenly cut to Fast 9 where we're in a romantic comedy and then Fast 10 a full-on comedy. But this is hopefully the last time we switch over. It's a spy thriller now, and I think that's perfectly alright with these over-the-top action sequences that they've thrown onto this movie.
Obviously, we gotta go great. The cast is great. The Rock can still do no wrong. Jason Statham's hilarious in a little place little scene that we can't spoil, but it's very funny.
It's an incredibly funny action sequence that takes place in a very nice confined space.
We have Tyrese earning that paycheck.
Yep, because that's basically what he does. Ludacris is doing incredibly well. Hell, I just have to wonder when is Ramsey gonna get her own car? Because I feel like
I don't think she drives.
Because she's always riding shotgun with someone else, and
that's the thing.
And I got it in 7 when she had to actually be on a computer the entire time. But here, she's not doing anything other than while they are driving.
Yeah, so Ramsey's kind of tagging along in these movies now. But and then Michelle Rodriguez, Vin Diesel, we got those two. They're doing their job.
Yeah, it's not incredible acting because let's face it, you don't see this franchise for the acting.
You see it for Vin Diesel to growl out, family. I don't got friends. I got family. That's my favorite line from Fast 7, by the way.
And this whole thing basically built up to probably one of the biggest, stupidest action sequences. Yes, even stupider than the 1,000,000-mile airplane runway in a 6. 5. 6?
6. But
it's confusing.
And then we got Kurt Russell. He's doing good. He did good. We got let's see, who else did I want to talk about? I think we're done. I think we're done with the cast, actually.
Have we burned through everything? This is a huge cast.
This is a good cast. I think we burned through everyone.
Well, we could talk about the fact that this is actually the first major motion picture shot in Cuba since the embargo broke last year. If they were pretty much one of the groups of people that the second the embargo broke, they were pretty much on a plane to Cuba.
And it was very much a perfect way to jump into Cuba, to jump into this filming in Cuba, because we get to see all this culture and this amazing stuff about it. They surprisingly pulled
off gigantic stunts for what cannot be a very huge film scene.
Yeah, so with the fact that the film scene just opened, so we got some pretty impressive stuff for the fact that nobody's really shot Cuba in over 60 years.
Yeah, but all in all, if you love the Fast and Furious movies, then you can go see this movie and not be disappointed. If you absolutely hate everything about all 7 Fast and Furious movies, if you hate the hokey acting, the hokey writing, the over-the-top stunts, and just about everything about it, then I feel sorry for you. I really do.
Because these movies are mindless action movies. They're the McDonald's of cinema, and I could not, and because they're bad for you, there's better stuff out there, but you're gonna love that. But I love this.
But I just gotta say, Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious 8 is okay. It's not the best of the franchise by far.
No, it's not that.
But it's still a good installment of the franchise because deep down, once Justin Lin started taking over in Fast and Furious 4, he directed Tokyo Drift, but then in Fast and Furious 4, he was pretty much like, this franchise is dumb. Let's go.
So we got everything together. Everything's great with Fast and the Furious. And this franchise is great, and we got a brand new, and it looks like we're going to be seeing a lot more of some great new cast members. members with everything that's happened. So we got 2 more, as far as we know at least, we got 2 more movies of this, so let's ride.
Yeah. But for right now, this is pretty much done, guys. We are almost home, so we're going to just tell you guys that this movie is great. Go see it if you love Fast and Furious. Don't go see it if you don't, because you'll just end up bitching about it the entire time. And we will see you guys next time when we see Kurt Russell and Vin Diesel at it again. Only this time, they'll be hooked on a feeling. Bye.
Bye.